For decades, the world's most advanced technologies, from smartphones and electric vehicles to fighter jets and missile guidance systems, have relied on a hidden truth, an almost complete dependence on just one nation for their critical rare earth minerals. In 2023, China controlled over 60% of global rare earth mining and a staggering 90% of processing capacity. This strategic chokehold has dictated terms for industries worth trillions of dollars. But a silent, intense struggle is now unfolding across the African continent, a scramble for the planet's next major rare earth frontier. What happens here will not just shift supply chains, it will redraw the map of global power for the next century. This is that story. Rare earth elements are not, as their name suggests, particularly rare in the Earth's crust. What makes them critical is their dispersed nature and the complex, environmentally intensive process required for extraction and refining. These 17 elements are the invisible backbone of the modern economy. Neodymium powers the powerful magnets in wind turbines and EV motors. Lanthanum is vital for hybrid car batteries and oil refining catalysts. Yttrium and europium illuminate your display screens. For decades, the United States was a dominant producer, particularly from California's Mountain Pass mine, active since the 1950s. This mine alone supplied much of the free world's rare earth demand. However, by the late 1990s and early 2000s, environmental regulations intensified, and the high costs associated with refining these materials pushed production elsewhere. China, leveraging lower labor costs, fewer regulatory hurdles, and massive state investment, aggressively scaled up its rare earth industry. By 2010, China had cemented its position, supplying over 95% of the world's processed rare earths. This near monopoly, a strategic chokehold on indispensable resources, created a unique vulnerability for global manufacturing and defense. Beijing was not shy about leveraging this power, as the world would soon discover. The central question now: can Africa emerge as the counterweight to this strategic dominance, or will it become the next battleground for existing great power rivalries? The stark reality of rare earth dependency hit global markets in 2010. Following a maritime incident between a Chinese trawler and the Japanese Coast Guard, Beijing suddenly halted rare earth exports to Japan. Prices for some elements like dysprosium and terbium skyrocketed by up to 2,000% within months. Automakers, electronics manufacturers, and defense contractors worldwide scrambled. This geopolitical shock awakened Western capitals to the fragility of their supply chains. The US, Europe, and Japan initiated programs to reshore mining and processing, a monumental undertaking. China, meanwhile, doubled down. State-backed enterprises invested billions in securing additional rare earth deposits globally, often in regions with less scrutiny, including nascent projects in Africa. Africa, largely overlooked in the initial rare earth boom, suddenly became a focal point. Geologically, the continent is rich. Tanzania, for instance, holds significant rare earth deposits, notably the Nguela project, which boasts one of the largest undeveloped rare earth deposits globally. Other nations like Burundi, Madagascar, Malawi, and especially South Africa also possess substantial reserves. The challenge wasn't discovery, but extraction, processing, and the massive infrastructure required to get these materials to market. Chinese companies were among the first to establish a significant presence, with firms like Sichuan Hongda exploring projects in various African nations. Their strategy often involved securing raw material supply agreements, bypassing complex domestic refining. This mirrors China's broader strategy across the continent: resource access for infrastructure investment. Roads, railways, and ports built by Chinese firms began connecting remote mines to global shipping lanes, fundamentally altering the logistics landscape. Western powers, initially slower to react, are now playing catch-up. The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation, DFC, recently announced funding to support rare earth projects outside China with a keen eye on Africa. Australia's Ionic Rare Earths, backed by UK funding, is developing the Makutu project in Uganda, which holds a significant ionic adsorption clay deposit, a highly sought-after type known for its easier extraction of heavy rare earths. Europe, heavily reliant on Chinese imports, has also launched initiatives like the European Raw Materials Alliance, actively seeking partnerships and investments in African mining. Germany, through its development banks, has started exploring financing options for rare earth projects in Namibia and South Africa. This isn't just about diversification, it's about reclaiming strategic autonomy in a world increasingly defined by technological competition. The race for Africa's rare earths is a critical front in this escalating contest for global technological leadership and national security. The real pivot in this unfolding drama is not merely about extracting raw ore from African soil. It's about who controls the value chain. Historically, African nations have exported raw materials only to import finished goods at a much higher cost. This colonial-era economic model has perpetuated cycles of dependency. The true power shift hinges on the ability of African nations to move beyond being mere suppliers of unrefined commodities. Projects like the Kaniaka niobium project in Malawi, which includes a rare earth component, are pushing for in-country processing, aiming to produce an intermediate product rather than just concentrate. This involves significant capital, advanced technology, and skilled labor, elements often scarce. Yet, the realization is growing among African policymakers. Simply selling raw earth creates minimal long-term benefit. The real prize is the refining capacity, the ability to turn crude ore into high-purity oxides and metals. This is where China's dominance is most entrenched and where the greatest leverage lies. If Africa can develop even partial refining capabilities, it could fundamentally rebalance the global supply equation, forcing major powers to invest not just in mines, but in the industrial development of the continent itself. This transition would elevate Africa from a resource battleground to an industrial partner. The scramble for Africa's rare earth minerals is intensifying, marked by complex deals, multi-billion-dollar investments, and the quiet maneuvering of geopolitical rivals. For African nations, this presents a double-edged sword. On one hand, it offers unprecedented opportunities for economic development, job creation, and infrastructure growth. Countries like Madagascar, with its Tantalus rare earth project, and Burundi, with its Gakara mine, are strategically positioned. The revenue generated from these resources could fund essential services, education, and health care. On the other hand, the influx of foreign capital and influence risks exacerbating issues of governance, corruption, and environmental degradation, if not managed with robust oversight. The potential for a resource curse, where mineral wealth breeds instability rather than prosperity, remains a tangible threat. Major global powers face a high-stakes chess match. The United States and its allies aim to break China's near monopoly, securing diversified, ethical supply chains crucial for their technological future and defense industries. China, meanwhile, seeks to solidify its first-mover advantage, often by partnering directly with state-owned enterprises and local governments, weaving itself deeper into the African economic fabric. The outcome will shape not only the future of critical mineral supply, but also the geopolitical landscape for decades to come, defining who holds the keys to the future of technology and strategic independence. Africa, long viewed through lenses of challenges, now stands at the epicenter of a new global resource war, fought not with bullets, but with contracts, capital, and critical minerals. The world needs its rare earths. How Africa chooses to leverage this indispensable wealth, whether it becomes a mere extraction ground or a formidable industrial force, will determine not just its own destiny, but the balance of power across the entire planet. The stakes could not be higher. This silent struggle is already underway, defining the next era of global competition.